Hello, welcome to Fan Made, the show where we interview some of the top names in sports and sports entertainment and sports media, but all about who are just fans just like you and me. And today I'm going to talk to some you might know from ESPN New York, who's rising star at that station in the sports media world, none other than Ty Butler. You've probably heard of my ESPN on some of the shows throughout the day. And Ty, great having you on. Thanks for coming on the show.
It's an honor and a privilege, man. When I see the email pull up, someone's been listening to the station. We appreciate that, and of course, tuned into to yours truly. I'm like, let's do it, man. Let's do it. So, what's up, Luke? Hope everything's well with you,
Yeah,
bro.
everything's well, man. Yeah, no, big fan of you and ESPN and it's awesome to have you on. And yeah, no, what like I always ask my guests the first question, since the show's always about going to games and being a fan. Do you remember the first game you attended and any fun
I
stories around that?
I, I thought about this. It's tough to really nail the first game that I attended. Because I was going to games when I was a kid. Like my dad would always have me at Yankee Stadium, so I'm pretty sure it was a Yankee game, as far as one of the first that I attended. But it's really hard to put.
Yeah.
And if this why I love this question is because it brings me actual depression that I don't remember it. Because you'll
Oh,
listen to people, they remember the first game they've gone to. So now I've made a concerted effort. I've got two kids that they're gonna remember the first game they went to. So my firstborn Noah, we took him to Yankee Stadium last year, opening day against the Giants. Judge hit a home run up against the team that almost stole him from
yeah.
us. I'll call it us because I'm a Yankee fan. So
Mm-hmm.
that's his first game. Maverick still got his first game coming soon, but because of the sins of my parents not recalling and not documenting the first game we've been to, I'm gonna make it happen for my kids. But I've
There
been
you
to a
go.
lot. I'm pretty sure it was Yankee Stadium.
Yeah, no, same thing with me too. Those Yank game was my first at the old stadium, and
Yes,
yeah,
sir.
no, and it's good that you're bringing your son to it. I saw that on Instagram last year when you brought him to opening day, and that's
Yes,
awesome. And
sir.
again, you're bringing him to you're introducing a new generation. Like that was what you grew up doing. Now he's gonna grow, and your other son too is gonna be following suit too. It's awesome that you doing something you grew up doing, and now you're bringing the next generation. That's just awesome. And like that's
Absolutely.
yeah, nah, it's cool. And another question I like to add, what's like for even if it may not be your first game, but what's a fun like sports memory you have of like seeing any records broken, any world like championships, World Series, or just
So how about this? Being a diehard Yankees fan to my core, which by the way, right now, can't feel great about the news we got about Garrett Cole and the
yeah,
potential injury, and then Aaron
I
Judge is
know,
dealing with some
yeah, I
stuff.
know,
We
man,
haven't even hit opening day yet, and this team's already ravaged by injuries, not
yes,
just by two players, but by literally the
your
two
two
most
best
important players
players.
on the team. So that gives me some pause on the season. But my favorite player ever is Derek Jeter, and this story to me is awesome. So I actually was in Yankee Stadium the day he recorded his 3,000th hit off David Price for a home run. And
Nice.
why it's so special to me is because I really got lucky. You go back to that season, Jeter was on 2,998 hits going into that Saturday game that I attended. But what people forget is the Friday night game got rained out.
Hmm.
So there's a good chance that if that game doesn't get rained out, Jeter, hits it
Yeah,
on Friday night. I'm there the next day and it loses its buzz, right? Like the balloon, it's deflated. But because of the rain out, put me in great position. My dad had tickets and he didn't really have interest in going to the game. So I remember we met up at the McDonald's outside of Yankee Stadium.
yep, yep.
Uh, chilled there for a bit, got the tickets, ended up being a little bit late. So I missed 2,999 because I was waiting in line, but got to my seat right in time for, I think it ended up being like an 11 pitch at bat, home
Mhm.
run to left field off of David Price. Stadium's going bonkers. My now wife, who was my girlfriend back then, we're standing next to each other. So, I mean, it's a beautiful love story. Beautiful love story. You see the things that I do for her?
There you
She's
go,
in
man.
Yankee Stadium
But
for
you got, I
Derek
mean,
Jeter's
you
3,000th
got
hit.
something out of it too, though. At
and
least you
there
both got to
and
see
she
it.
and she has the audacity to ever complain when I forget to take the garbage out. I mean, come on now.
There you go. That's just something you got to pull out your back pocket. Hey, I took you to Jeter's 3,000 hit.
Yes,
But yeah,
sir.
no,
Yes, sir.
it's awesome, man. And it's, definitely something cool to bring, your now wife and, have you'll have that memory forever. And, it's the way, and especially the way it worked out that you made it, that it rained out, but then you were there for, his 3000th, and it all worked out perfully. And
So if you go back to the call, my guy Michael K
yep,
nails
I
it.
remember it
Says, history with an
with
exclamation point.
exclamation.
What people don't know is the exclamation point he's talking about is me being in the stadium. It's not the fact that Jeter hit the home run. It's that exclamation point. Ty got a chance to be here,
Yeah,
and there you have it. Yeah.
it's true.
So that's what
He
Kay
knew,
was talking about. I don't think Kay's told people that yet, but I'll be
yeah,
the
nah,
first
that
to
could be your list. Now the world
break that
could.
story on your show.
Yeah, exactly. Breaking news right there. Now the world knows that it all played out. It all, lined up perfectly. But yeah, no, speaking of Michael K, speaking of ESPN, talk about how, you got into being a host on ESPN and getting in there and getting with that opportunity.
So it's a story of literal, perseverance and like towing that line of being annoying to the point where like you're constantly, in people's inboxes and DMs, trying your hardest to get there because I had decided that's the place I wanted to be come hell or high water. So back in 2013, I was an avid listener of Robin Lundberg's show,
Oh
4 to
yeah,
6
I've had
a.m.
him on too.
Yeah, Robin's my dude. So I used to
Great.
listen to that show, the podcast. He and RJ, the producer, who's now the producer of the morning show, DPH and Rothenberg,
Yep.
just a fantastic duo. Caught my attention, and RJ, um, I don't even want to say my. I guess I can say my surprise, and it's really nothing to do about RJ. But when you get in this business, it's hard to really get in touch with people like that who are, just so busy overnight. But I kept in contact with him. I'm tweeting at him. We exchanged contact information, and Robin at the time was doing this feature on a show called Fanless Friday, where every Friday he allowed a fan to come into the studio and essentially co-host the show with him. And just that was just like right up my alley. I'm like, yo, I got to get on that at some point. So I kept hitting RJ up. Never really aligned because at the time I was in college. I was at SUNY Oneonta. So the timelines had to match up. And it just so happens, I'll never forget this. He hit me during spring break and he's like, yo, if you got some time, next Friday, we'd love to have you in on Fanless Friday. And I was like, yo, that's perfect because I'm actually headed down back to New York City from upstate, SUNY Oneonta, and I'm gonna be hanging down there for a week. So I got a chance to come in and we did the show together. I was very nervous. I went back and listened to it, and I'm terrified. I'm stuttering all over the place, but it was my first
Yeah, it's your
time,
first
so I
time.
mean that's to be expected. And RJ was great, man. RJ kept in contact. Um, I think I might have met Justin Craig, who was the program director back then, that day, and I let him know, like, listen, I have aspirations of getting here. He's like, yo, here's my email. Keep in contact. Finish college, get your degree, and if something ever opens up, we'll let you know. So then, fast forward my capstone at Oneonta, I had to do an internship at a radio station, ESPN Syracuse, in an affiliate. Worked there, interned there, got a job there, worked there for a while. Then in 2017, RJ hit me about an opening for a board op producer position at the station. I was like, here's my resume. Immediately came back down to the city, interviewed with Ryan Hurley and John Winthrop, program director APD. And I remember Don came into, during like he just kind of barged into the interview. He's like, hire this guy, he's great. He had no idea who I was, but
Wow.
I always remember that. So it was fun. Yeah, got that. And then got back to Oneonta the next week. I got a call from Ryan, offered me the job, moved back to New York City. And there we have it. So I board up produced for what ended up being like 5 years, yeah, five, because we're in 2024 now. So 5 years in 2022 in August, signed a contract as a part-time host. And then here we are today.
Wow, that is a great story, and and it goes to show you perseverance. The fact that you kept up, you kept the contacts with everybody, and it's awesome that it played out, and it's just starting here. Like, you just got the part time, but I can see big things coming in the future,
Thank you,
man.
bro. Appreciate you,
You
dog.
know, that's just a great story and great motivation for anybody, man. And it's good on, Robin and RJ for remembering you, for giving you those opportunities too, and you just taking it and running with it. And yeah, no, it's just that's great story, and can't wait to see what happens next, for the future, your future at ESPN. And yeah, but my next question, you mentioned, obviously growing up being a Yankee fan and Jeter being your first player, but do you remember the first jersey that like Yankee, or it didn't even have to be a Yankee jersey, but like, what was like the first
I
jersey you remember
remember
wearing? And just
Allen Iverson.
Allen Iverson,
My
nice.
because my uncle had like two or three AI jerseys. He had the
Mhm.
Sixers. It was the black one and
Yep.
the blue one. I remember the blue one. I remember he would have it hanging up in his room, and I just threw it on because so I grew up. I had braids, and I
Oh,
wanted to
nice.
emulate every player in the NBA who had braids. So that was Allen Iverson and Latrell Sprewell. Those were
Mhm.
my two guys I looked at, and yeah, Allen Iverson. That was the first jersey I ever put on.
Nice, man. Yeah, no, AI, that was one of the, obviously, we're around the same age and growing up, and AI was like that guy. And I feel like everybody wanted to emulate, especially saw people wearing the jerseys and the braids and, buying the shoes and doing the, crossovers and all that. Like, nah, he definitely inspired a lot of players that are playing now. And yeah, no, he had a huge impact. And no, that's cool that you had his jersey. And what's the best? What do you, out of all the stadiums you've been in, games, really any sport, what's like, who's the best player you've witnessed watching? It doesn't even have to be like your favorite player, just like somebody you've seen live and you're like, wow, that guy's talent is just, worth the price of admission right there.
Oh, it's LeBron, without question. So I mean, I guess it's a bit controversial, but my stance is that he's the greatest player in NBA history.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess working in concert with that has to be since I've seen him play in person,
Yeah,
like he is unquestionably the most talented player I've ever seen. And I saw him back on my way up, and when I first started like actually covering games, he was with the Cavs, the second stint, during that um title window that they had. So LeBron's the best player I've ever seen. I've seen like, I've seen a lot of
yeah, of
people,
course.
Durant's awesome, Steph, obviously, Giannis,
Yeah,
like I've seen the best that this generation has had to offer since I've come up in this business. And then you go to baseball, and then those great Yankee teams, of course, Jeter and A-Rod, and Mariano Rivera,
yeah,
star-studded athletes. But the one thing, man, that's gonna stick with me the rest of my life, my favorite player of all time of any sport, because I mentioned Jeter, that's baseball.
yeah,
My favorite player is Kobe Bryant. So the fact that my career timeline didn't measure up with just him playing in the NBA, not even him at his prime, but just getting a
yeah,
chance to see, pre 2016 Kobe Bryant, that is going to be something that sticks with me the rest of my life because that's my guy, that's my dog. Rest in
yeah.
peace to him, man. But yeah, LeBron's the best I've ever seen in person.
Yeah, nah. Yeah, no, definitely rest in peace, Kobe. And he's again myself too. Never got that chance to see Kobe live. And even when I did see the like teams play, Knicks play against the Lakers, something, he was always either like hurt or like not playing. But yeah, no, it's definitely somebody I wish I got to see. And but yeah, no, you're right about LeBron too, just being so dominant. I feel like he was one of like the early, especially in his era, like he like the way just he was just built like different, like physically, and just the way he could just take over a game. Like he could play small, he could play big, and he was like one of the first is like he really could play like really any position in like our
Yeah,
in his era, and it's
and
just so much fun.
you could see on full display, like people rave about his acumen and his IQ.
Yeah,
Like you being at games, you see it. Like you see his vision and how he sees plays develop. And this guy has been in the league for what, it's year
yeah,
21 for him. So
hmm,
he's literally seen every single defense that
yeah.
could be thrown at him. What I will say though, I was at that Warriors Knicks game a couple of weeks ago. Steph is a different
Oh
level. Steph's
yeah.
obviously not better than LeBron, but
No,
just
but
watching him is so fascinating. Like the gravity he has on the court because of his elite shooting and the fact that he is someone who's a threat immediately upon touching the ball, regardless of where
Hmm.
he's on the court, even in the backcourt.
Yeah.
To watch him run around all game, fighting through screens, the defense chasing him, and how it opens it up for Draymond's easy layups, and
Yeah.
Clay gets a shot here, and Kaminga gets a dunk. Like the gravity of Steph Curry is to me one of the most fascinating things I've ever seen.
Yeah, no, I agree about Steph. And the thing about Steph is like he's such a like not only is he a dominant 3-pointer, and obviously he changed the game because he had more like you had big men and small guys shooting a lot more threes now and trying to defend him as well. But he's also a great playmaker too, like you just mentioned. Like yeah, he dominant on taking threes, but he'll also set guys up, and I think it's just just as powerful quality as he has as just as a shooting too. Like he's a great playmaker as well too, and setting guys up for sure. And yeah, and you mentioned obviously being at the Garden, and obviously we all know that's a great energy, great atmosphere. But what's some of like the best, like it could be stadium, arena, any sport, best arena or stadium or atmosphere that you've been to outside of New York?
Out school, that is a good question. I had to the
It could
best.
literally be like any kind of like factor, like reason why, or just
That's a good question. Let me think about that one. That's a real good one because I gotta think. Is it Philly? Because Philly fans are just
oh yeah, they're
nuts.
different animal.
So
Yeah,
it
for sure.
might be Philadelphia. Houston. I've been to Houston. Um, Charlotte. Like that's a good one. I got to think about that one.
All right.
Is it Miami? Is it Miami going out there? It might be. It might be Houston. Honestly,
Yeah.
it might be Houston or Philly. Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
Houston or
toying with it.
Philly.
I'm
We'll take
toying.
either one.
Yeah, it might be Houston or Philly.
Yeah, nah. Philly fans are something special, especially, like super passionate. Never been to Houston, but I feel like, heard that
I gotta go to
sports.
Boston, but I gotta go to Boston. I want to go to Fenway. I've never been to Fenway,
Yeah, nah,
and I've
Fenway is
never
cool.
been to TD Garden. Those are the two venues, and I gotta be at. Those are the two venues I gotta go to. So
Yeah,
I'm
no.
sure that'll immediately
Check off the
rise to the
checklist.
top of the ladder. Yeah.
Yeah, no, Fenway is definitely cool. Even as a Yankee fan, as it hurts to say, like it is a cool stadium, and definitely recommend checking it out for sure. And yeah, no, speaking another question I like to ask, uh, if you hypothetically in this, if you had 4 tickets to any game, who and you could bring 3 people, they could be famous, not famous, alive, dead. What game are you going to, and who are you taking to the game?
Oh, so I'm not gonna give the politically correct like my
No, no, we
family
don't
because
need the
my
political.
kids
You
like
can say whatever you want, man.
my kids. I will go with my two kids and my wife, but
There you
let's just
go.
set that aside.
Yeah.
Let's set that aside. I would love to go to a game with Jay-Z because Jay-Z is my favorite rap. You see, I got the Biggie shirt on here.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
let's go with Biggie. All right, so
Biggie.
I'm gonna go hip hop here. Let's
All
go
right.
hip hop just because I'm a music head.
Mhm.
So I got the Biggie shirt on. We just celebrated the anniversary of
Yep.
his passing, unfortunately, March 9th. So I'm gonna go Biggie. I'm gonna put Hove there so I get one more guest. Beyonce. Let's do
There you
that. Me,
go.
Biggie, Hove, and Beyonce.
There you go.
We chilling at game 7 of the NBA Finals, Lakers Celtics, and is while we're bringing people back from the dead. Let's throw Kobe on this championship
All
team.
right, there.
So we got Kobe, LeBron, and AD at state. I'm not gonna call it crypto. It's still
Nah,
Staples Center to
Staples
me.
Center.
We've got the statue with no typos. Kobe's back with AD, LeBron, and I'm hanging out with Beyonce, Hove, and Big. Shout out
Wow.
to Big at the game. That's what we're doing.
Wow. That's probably one of the best dances we've had, man. Like, yeah, no, that's definitely, especially you can't beat that Staples Center, Kobe playing with LeBron, AD, and Jay Z, Biggie, and Beyonce. Man, oh man, I want to go to that game too, bro.
Let's do
but
it.
but yeah, no, you mentioned before bringing your first son to the Yankee game for his first game, but obviously you brought your wife to games too. But what's if you were to meet somebody who's going to their first game, like, let's just say Yankee game, what are some tips and tricks you'd recommend to them, or like, and what are like some of your favorite things you like to do when you go to games, like what's like your food order, your drink, like
So
tradition.
baseball is great because like there's so much downtime that it might work against the viewer at home because you kind of get lost in everything happening at home and then you're switching the channel. That's why baseball is kind of struggling with casuals and the younger audience. There's just so much happening. But in the ballpark, that downtime allows you to explore the stadium. Go eat, go have a couple of drinks, just walk around the concourse and just have a good time, chill, sit there, laugh, talk, and enjoy the game. One of my pieces of advice is don't leave too early. Get to the game on time because I again missed Jeter's 2,999th hit because I was late. So could you imagine that
Yeah.
was actually 3,000 I didn't miss? I would never get over that. I
Yeah.
also missed last year. I told you I brought my son to the game. So Judge hits a home run in the first inning.
Yep.
I missed it.
Ah.
I missed it because remember baseball like just implemented all these new
Yep.
rules. So there's a
Pitch
pitch clock.
clocks.
Games are going quickly. I thought I was on old school time,
You
and I
know.
was I was woefully incorrect. So
Ah.
get to these games on time. Don't leave early. Don't pull what those Heat fans did in
Oh yeah.
2013 Game 6, just leaving before Ray Allen shot. That's my
Mhm.
advice. Don't do that. If you go to a football game, football is not the best as far as like the experience, unless you're
Mhm.
sitting in like a suite or a club. But go near the 50-yard line if that's something you can do. Um, yeah, don't leave too early. Don't leave too early because you might miss a big moment.
Yeah.
Unless obviously the game's a blowout and you're certain that it's done. And just have a good time, man. Enjoy.
There you go, man. Couldn't have said it
Also,
better.
can I just say this?
Go for it.
I don't want to offend any people. Make their own decisions. The whole tailgating thing, that's fine. Don't go into a game plastered to the point where you don't remember anything that's happening. Like
Yeah.
have a good time, have a
Yeah.
couple of drinks, eat some food, but make sure that you have the ability to be conscious of everything that's happening. First of all, it's unsafe to be that hammered,
Yeah.
around thousands of people,
Mhm.
but you don't want to find yourself in a situation where you wake up the next day and you can't recall anything that happened and what ended up being, a defining game
Yeah.
for a team, for a player. So that's my advice to people too, man.
That's great advice too. Cause I always wonder that, like, especially when you see like football games, like people get there like 5, 6 hours before the game starts, and they're already tanked right before kickoff. It's
Yeah,
like, why even go? Like, it's into the game. You're not even gonna
yeah.
remember where you are, like, how, like what happened. Like, it's just like, but yeah, no, it's great advice for sure. And definitely, I'm with you there. Don't leave early because personally, with every game I go to, I make sure I'm there till last out, like, zeros on the clock. And yeah, no, it's definitely sound advice. And but yeah, thanks. But Ty, it's been a fun interview, man. And it's been great learning a lot about you, and I appreciate you coming on. But one last thing before you go, just tell the listeners where they can find you on social media, and if you want to plug anything, like when you're going to be on the radio next, anything you want. The floor is yours.
I'm on Instagram. I'm on Twitter. They call it X. I ain't calling it
Yeah,
X.
no,
It's just
it's
got
still
no
Twitter.
flow to it. No Steves. Hit me Ty D Butler Tybutler Instagram, on Twitter, and I'm since I'm like filling in a lot on 98.7 ESPN. You could find I always tweet out when I'm on. I'm gonna be on again Easter Sunday, but that could change. Like not that Easter Sunday is gonna change, but I could be on sooner
Yeah.
than that. I'll get hit up like, yo, we need you. So just follow me on Twitter and Instagram, and I'll have that information locked and loaded for y'all.
All right, sounds good. We'll definitely check you out. There you have it. He's Ty Butler. He's fan made. Thanks, Ty, for coming on. Thanks to everybody for listening. And if you could please give us a follow, like, subscribe on YouTube, Instagram, and also on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.